Today, we will be doing our second round mock draft based on what actually happened in the first round. We saw a lot of players fall yesterday, and there's actually a lot of talent here in this second round. We have all the picks correct, so let's just get into this updated second round mock draft. So the Browns are up at, we're not going to do any trades, even though it's probably going to happen. Browns are up at 33, and I think it just makes sense to mock them Shedeur here. Now, you could see them waiting to pick him at 36, and I actually might do that because there's no trades. With trades, I think they should take him at 33 because a team could easily trade up for the Texans and Titans pick, like the Raiders or the Saints maybe, or even the Jets. They could trade up with these two team spots. So I actually will take him at 33 just to avoid a team trading up for him. I was surprised he fell out of the first round. So I think the Browns' easy pick here is take him in the second. Texans, after they traded back with the Giants, who ended up taking Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders, are now up with their first pick of the draft at 34. It's receiver O-line to me. You still got, you got a guy like Ariante Ursary, but I don't know if you take him at 34. The guards are kind of off the board with like Tyler Booker and Gray Zabel. They're off the board, so I don't think you go O-line here. And I think you go receiver because Luther Burden is right here. Luther Burden and Nico Collins. I mean, you got Travis Hunter to get past. Now he's in Jacksonville. The Titans could be interested in receiver, so you take him out of the Titan. You take him away from the Titans, who could be in your division. Like Luther Burden could end up in your division, so this stops not only the Titans from getting him, but a team in your division from getting him. There's no O-line worth taking. I'm going to go Luther Burden here to the Texans at 34. Titans are next at 35. They got their QB, obviously, in Cam Ward. Again, they could use receiver here. You still could go good receivers. You just can't get Luther Burden. There still is Jaden Higgins and Jack Beck available. I like Jaden Higgins, too. You could just add talent and get Will Johnson at corner and Mike Green at pass rusher because they need, at least pass rush-wise, they need him. Now, there is a reason these guys are falling, but is that just falling out of the first, or are they going to continue to fall? I think, considering that the Titans, I think just take one of the best players. I think they take one of these two. And I think, it doesn't say they need corner on here, because I think their secondary is actually pretty decent. So I'm going to go Mike Green here to the Titans at 35, just going best player available at that point. So, because I think, yeah, there's the off-the-field stuff, but at 35, it's worth it. Because if everything's fine, you get a very, very good player at 35. Browns are next at 36. Now, they didn't end up with Travis Hunter, right? They went Mason Graham, and they got Shedeur. So they could get Will Johnson, team him up with his guy Mason Graham, fill the corner spot that maybe Travis Hunter was supposed to fill. Even though they have good corners, but Greg Newsome could be traded. I mean, they were going to take Travis Hunter, and they viewed him as a guy that could do both. So maybe they do need corner. I think it's Will Johnson here or Ezeracwo. And maybe the injuries are pushing Ezeracwo down, or Will Johnson down. And because they have a decent cornerback room, and they view Travis Hunter more as a receiver, I'm going to go Ezeracwo here to pair alongside Myles Garrett and Mason Graham and create an elite front seven with those three mainly. Because they could have taken Abdul Carter, which would have been an edge rusher, so they weren't, it's not like they couldn't go pass rusher. Raiders at 37, they have the guy Ashton Jeanty, so it's between probably receiver, it's probably between Jaden Higgins or Will Johnson. I think this is where we see Will Johnson go at 37. You can't pass up on a talent like Will Johnson, even with the injury issues that is probably the reason why he fell out of the first round is that injury. So to get him at 37, you need corner. You kind of just need anything if you're the Raiders. Like, you can honestly go literally every position outside of now running back. So I think Will Johnson's a perfect pick. Patriots at 38, they got their guy Will Campbell. They still could go O-line here if there was some worth taking, but I don't think there is. I think they go offense. Do they go with a Caleb Johnson, Cam Skattebo, Travion Henderson? Or do they lean towards the receivers with a Ayo Manor, Jaden Higgins, or Jack Beck? I think they lean towards receiver because I think I like Higgins more. I think I like the top receivers more than the top running backs and the later running backs more than the later receivers. So I would personally go receiver here because outside of Diggs and a bunch of who knows at young receivers like Polk and Booty and Demario Douglas, it's just a bunch of young receivers that we don't know how they'll pan out. And then you have the veteran in Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to go Jaden Higgins here to the Patriots at 38. Bears are up with their first second-round pick. They have two. They got Colston Loveland, which I was surprised. I thought they were going to go Tyler Warren. Not saying that Colston Loveland isn't worth the pick. I just thought they'd take Warren in that spot as soon as all their guys were off the board. They could go halfback, but I think they could use 41 on a halfback. D tackle is a need for them. Now, all four of the top D tackles did go off the board in even the top 5 D tackles, because you can even throw Tyleik Williams in there. The top 5 D tackles all got picked, which is kind of unfortunate for the Bears, because I think that's a good spot for them to go here. Could go safety and get a Kevin Winston or Xavier Watts. I kind of like Xavier Watts here. But the Saints might go running back. So you know what? I'm going to go running back to the Bears. And it seems like Travion Henderson's the top guy here. So I'm going to go Travion Henderson to the Bears at 39, mainly because the Saints could go halfback. So I just think they'd maybe take a halfback first because he could fall at 40. And I think Watts will make it past the Saints here. Now, what do the Saints do? Do they go receiver alongside they got Kelvin Banks, so they got their O-lineman. So maybe they go halfback to run behind that new O-lineman in Kelvin Banks. They do need a pass rusher too, though. It doesn't say it here, but they need pass rush. And Nick Scorton's here, and a lot of good pass rushers are here, actually. Nick Scorton, Landon Jackson, Swinson, Princely, JT, Jared Ivey, Oladeo. All very good pass rushers. All could possibly go here in the second round. So I think they just go take the best pass rusher available, get their next Cam Jordan. So I'm going to have them go Nick Scorton at 40. And then I think the Bears go Xavier Watts here. They need safety. They need somebody next to Brisker, I think, is their safety. I think they paid him. They extended him this offseason. So why not pair him next to a guy like Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame? One of the better players available. They didn't really need corners. And I don't know if you could take a guy like Omar Norman Lott at 41. So I like Watts for value and sort of best player. Jets at 42, I think they go Jalen Milroe here. Or quarterback in general. Because what other team goes QB outside of maybe the Rams because Stafford's older? I don't see any other team going quarterback here. The Jets need somebody. Hey, what's a good player to mentor Jalen Milroe? Justin Fields. You know? Maybe not because they're the same player, but I think the Jets go QB with Shedeur off the board. I'm going to have them go with Jalen Milroe at 42. Niners are up on the clock at 43. They got Mykel Williams, so they got a pass rusher. They could go with a D tackle and get an Omar Norman Lott. They could go one of the top corners here. I really like Trey Amos. Because the O-line aren't worth taking yet. Necessarily. So I'm going to go with Trey Amos out of Ole Miss to the Niners at 43. They need somebody next to Lenore. I think Lenore's still on the team. Because they lost a lot of defensive players. So I think they got to keep going defense. Cowboys at 44, they got Tyler Booker. Good player. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see the Cowboys going him. But I guess without McMillan on the board, they felt like he was the guy for them. Maybe they didn't want to take Golden at 12. Running backs, a possibility. You still got you still got 4 of the top guys still. Could go receiver here and go with a Beck or a Omenora. Get that actual receiver next to CeeDee Lamb. Micah Parsons was kind of upset he didn't get a pass rusher next to him, so maybe they go pass rusher here. I think they go best available player that somewhat fills a need for them. And here it's Landon Jackson based on average draft position. So maybe they go Landon Jackson. I'll go Landon Jackson to the Cowboys at 44. I think they could get a better I don't know if they end up going receiver, honestly. So I think they go Landon Jackson at 44. Colts, they got their perfect pick at 14 with Tyler Warren. So now they're up at 45. And now you can look at defense. You could go Kevin Winston, but I think they stay away from that. I think they go pass rusher to fill the need of Dayo Odeyingbo. So I think they look towards that direction. These guys are all, like, you could pick any one of these guys, honestly. I'm not too familiar with which one maybe fits the scheme of the Colts more. So I'm just going to pick pass rusher here. Just predict that the Colts go pass rusher. But you can honestly pick any of these 3 guys, even these 2 as well. So I'll just go Braden Swinson to the Colts at 45. Rams are next at 46. They traded out. They traded with the Falcons. They got a first, I'm pretty sure, though. So, yeah, your first pick is 46. The Rams back to not having first-round picks, but you get a first next year from a Falcons team who could be pretty decent. But they could also win like 9 games and you get a top 20 pick. So I think it was a good trade for the Rams if they didn't like any of the guys on the board. But now they're here with their first pick. A position I liked them drafting was corner. So you still got 2 great corners here as some of the better players on the board. Tight end, Mason Taylor is there, but I think their offense is fine for now. I think they can manage with Higbee at tight end. I don't think they necessarily need to go there. I think they go corner. Which corner do you view the most? I think we've seen injuries drop some of these players. Siobhan Revel had a major injury, so I think Matt Morrison might have got hurt too, but Revel got like an actual serious injury. He only played like 2 games, I think, this season. So I'm going to go Benjamin Morrison to the Rams at 46. Maybe they trade for Jalen Ramsey and they pair him alongside Benjamin Morrison. But if not, you got a good young corner to build around that very good young defense. Cardinals at 47. They went Walter Nolan to fill that D-line need. I thought they would go corner, so why not go corner here with Siobhan Revel on the board? I know I said he might fall because injuries, but maybe we get a little cornerback run here. I'm going to go Siobhan Revel to the Cardinals at 47. Dolphins are up at 48. They got Kenneth Grant to fill, again, their D-line need. Now you could see a tackle going here. You could see an Ariante Ursary, because I think Dolphins fans want some O-line help, because Tua can't get hit any more than he's been getting hit. If Tua's your guy, you need to keep him upright. So I'm actually going to go with Ariante Ursary here at tackle out of Minnesota. Maybe a little bit of a reach, but I think they need O-line so bad. And without Revel or Morrison on the board, I don't think they go corner. You already got your D-line filled, so I like tackle there. Bengals at 49, they got Shamar Stewart. I like that pick. He's a very, polarizing prospect, but not a lot of college production, but has all the physical traits to be a productive pass rusher, so we'll see. I think they could have went D-line here, so you could go back around because there's still, yes, the top 5 D tackles are off the board, but now you're in the range of these next 3 of Norman Lott, Darius Alexander, and TJ Sanders. And linebacker-wise, you do got Carson Schlesinger on the board too, who is a late first, early second, but now we're in 49. So I actually like Carson Schlesinger, and I know it's not a very deep linebacker class, like off-ball linebacker. Jihad Campbell is the only one that got picked so far, I'm pretty sure, because Jalen Walker is a little different. So I'm going to go Carson Schlesinger here to the Bengals at 49. They need help at linebacker. They need that sort of guy to run the middle of that defense and hopefully actually stop teams from scoring. Seahawks are at 50. They also have 52 as well. They got Gray Zabel with their first-round pick. I think they need pass rusher. I think they go pass rusher because there's still a ton of good ones available. Again, I'm not sure which one's the better one, which one fits the scheme more. I like Princely, so I'm going to go Princely. Do not know how to say his last name, but I like Princely to the Seahawks at 50. Broncos at 51, they got Jedi Barron. I thought it was an interesting pick for them because they have good corners, but now you got him, Riley Moss, and PS2. It's a very good secondary. So now you gotta, I don't know about anyone else, but I thought they would go offense here because they don't have a lot outside of like Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims pretty much. So I thought they'd invest in the offense. But now you can go offense here because you got Ayomanor, you got Jack Beck, and you got these running backs. I mean, you could even go Mason Taylor here, but I think they're fine with Evan Ingram for now. That's who they brought in, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, yeah, because that receiver, you have Cortland Sutton, you have Marvin Mims, and at running back, it's Javonte's gone. You have Jaleel McLaughlin. I don't know if they signed anybody. I think they go halfback here. I go to Iowa, so maybe my bias is going to pick Caleb Johnson instead of Scatterbo. I'm going to go Caleb Johnson to the Broncos at 51. Seahawks are back at 52, got Zabel and Princely. Do they go with a center here and get Jared Wilson? It might be a bit of a reach here, but I'm going Jared Wilson to the Seahawks. I think I had that in my regular mock draft. I don't know if I had him going in the second or the third. But Seahawks fill out every need. They get a center, they get a guard, and they get a pass rusher. Very successful draft, in my opinion. Bucks went Emeka Egbuka, which was surprising to me. I thought they'd go defense, considering here it says all their needs are defense. And if you just watch the Bucks, they need defense more than offense. But they now have a loaded receiver room, so. And Chris Godwin, they might not be confident of how he's going to recover from his injury. Shouldn't have gotten injured in the first place, but they were trying to. I don't know what they were doing against the Ravens, but I think they now lean defense. I loved Campbell. I loved linebacker for him. Do you go with Demetrius Knight with the guys on the board? I'm not sure. I think you go with. I mean, you could go with Demetrius Knight. I don't know what I'm talking about. Could get a guy next to Vita Vea and Omar Norman Lott. I think it's JT or Demetrius Knight here. I think teams just value edge rusher, obviously. It's a more valuable position, so I think they go JT Tuimoloau. I think it's my attempt to pronounce it. Packers at 54, they got Matthew Golden. They got their first receiver taken in the first round since 2000-something, early 2000s. So maybe they can finally have a receiver 1 on their team next to all their receiver 2s. Because the receiver 2s can now be receiver 2s. So they took care of the receiver need. They don't need another. I think they need corner. And Aziri Thomas and Darian Porter are right here. I like these two. I'll go Aziri Thomas to the Packers at 54. I like corner for them. Those two guys make perfect sense to take at 54. I like Thomas just a little bit more than Porter, but they're very similar in terms of like when you'd pick them. Chargers next at 55. They got Amari Hampton. Is this where we see Mason Taylor go? or even Elijah Aurora, possibly. Could go receiver here, and I think they're content with their receiver room. They could go pass rusher or D-line with Norman Lott, but I think Harbaugh likes his tight ends. So I'm going to go Mason Taylor here to the Chargers at 55. I mean, it seems like he was going to be the next tight end off the board after the top two. And Harbaugh likes his tight ends, like I said. I like Mason Taylor to the Chargers. Next, the Bills. They got Maxwell Harrison, and they also have 2 more picks here. I really thought they would go D-line, but I guess the top guys were off the board, so they went with their best corner, which was Maxwell Harrison. So I think it's Demetrius Knight or one of the D tackles. I think they go D tackle because their next pick was at 62. I mean, Demetrius Knight could make it to 62. Maybe you go Demetrius Knight here because if the Panthers, Texans, Ravens, Lions, or Commanders take a D tackle like Omar Norman Lott, you still have 2 left. Versus if one of these teams take linebacker, you're kind of out of the you're not going to go Chris Paul at 62, but you could go one of those 3 D tackles at 62. So I'm going to go Demetrius Knight here to the Bills solely off of that. He's really the only linebacker worth taking, where there's still 3 D tackles worth taking that could be available at their 62nd pick. Panthers are next at 57. They got McMillan at number 8. So I think you have to go defense. I think they should go defense the rest of the draft with how bad their defense was. So you could go, I think they go edge rusher with how good of the edge rushers are still on the board. It's Jared Ivey or Oladeo. I know Ivey's been drafted higher based on the average draft position, but that's not always what happens. So I'm going to go Oladeo to the Panthers at 57. I think he's more of like a outside linebacker type build. Yeah, he plays off the ball here and there, so kind of like Jalen Walker. So I think he can be that. Because I think in their defensive scheme, their pass rushers are outside linebackers, not edge rushers. I think Oladeo could technically, he fits more of an outside linebacker pass rusher than a D-end pass rusher. So I think he works for the Panthers. I'm not sure if that's the case with Jared Ivey. Texans are up at 58. They got Luther Burden with their first second-round pick. Now O-line makes a little more sense if you want to go Tate Ratledge or I think I like Jonas Savaiinaea because he's played guard and tackle, and he's also played both tackle positions. He literally did it in the same year. He played half his snaps at left tackle and half at right tackle. Very versatile O-lineman. And I think the Texans have so many needs everywhere on their O-line that they'll really like the versatility that Savaiinaea can give them. So I'm going to go Jonas Savaiinaea to the Texans at 58. Ravens at 59, they got Malachi Starks, who they really wanted, and I really like that fit for them. Him and Kyle Hamilton, I think, complement each other very well. Malachi Starks is that, deep safety, intelligent safety that can cover the deep part of the field, and then Kyle Hamilton can play sort of near the line of scrimmage, near the box or whatever. So I think they match well. I still think they go defense because I liked pass rusher as an option for them in the first, and you still got Jared Ivey on the board here, who is more that traditional pass rusher, which is why I didn't think he'd go to the Panthers, but that's why I think he can go. I don't know the scheme necessarily, Ravens run, but I'm going to go Jared Ivey to the Ravens at 59. Lions are next at 60. They got Tyleik Williams, which was a somewhat of a surprise, but he is a good player. Don't get me wrong. And see, they could have went Demetrius Knight, but now the Bills got him, and they can still get a good D tackle, so that pick made sense earlier. But back to the Lions here at 60. You could go with a Tate Ratledge here. I wouldn't. That's not a bad pick. At 75. Because the pass rushers are kind of... I mean, you still got Kyle Kennard and Josiah Stewart, but that high second round tier of pass rushers are all gone now. Because I really like them getting pass rusher to pair next to Aiden Hutchinson. But maybe you just trust that you like these guys. I don't know what the Lions' next draft pick is, but maybe you trust that these guys will be available given your 3rd round pick. Let me quickly see if I can look. So the Lions have pick 102. So do you trust that you can get a good pass rusher at 102? I'm not sure. Whereas the O-lineman, I think you can get some of these guys at 102. So I'm going to go pass rusher. And why not bring a Michigan guy, pair him alongside another Michigan pass rusher? I'm going to go Josiah Stewart to the Lions at 60. They really help out that O-line, D-line in these first 2 picks. Commanders are next. They got Josh Connerly. Got to protect your QB. They mentioned on the broadcast or whatever you call it that a lot of these teams are just helping their young quarterbacks. So we saw that with Washington as well. Do they continue to do that and go with halfback? I think so. Scadaboo at 61. Because I think this could be the case. It's like, why isn't Scadaboo gone? Why isn't Scadaboo gone? And then a team like the Commanders late in the second get him, and everyone's excited that he goes to a really good team. So I'm going to go Cam Scadaboo. I remembered how to pronounce it, and I forgot it, but it's one of those two. Bills are next at 62. They got Maxwell Hairston, Demetrius Knight. And guess what? All the D tackles made it to them at 62 here. So they have their pick. I'm just going to go with the higher ranked one and go Omar Norman Lott. I'm not sure exactly which one's the better one, but I'll go Omar Norman Lott here at 62. Chiefs, they got Josh Simmons. Made sense. They need O-line. Do they go one of the 2 D linemen, or do they go tight end? I think it's one of these 2. But they have pick 95. And looking at just tight ends, you can get some of these good players at 95. And there's some really good D linemen available. So I think they get a little run here on D line and go Darius Alexander. Last pick is the Eagles. They got Jahad Campbell. I didn't think they necessarily needed a linebacker, but to get a guy like Jahad Campbell at 31 is a steal. I think I heard they tried trading up even higher in the draft to get him, and then he just fell pretty much in their lap, and they just traded up with the Chiefs to make sure no one else got him because it only cost a 5th round pick. So I think it's between a pass rusher and a D tackle. We could get the 3rd straight, mainly because these are the guys that left them in free agency. Because they had like 3 big free agents on defense. I guess 4 with Darius Slay. But it was Zach Bond, Milton Williams, and Josh Sweat. They re-signed Zach Bond, which is why I always was leaning towards D tackle or edge to replace Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. But I guess when you can get a guy like Jahad Campbell, you get him. So now I think they can use this pick to potentially replace Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. But with the next best edge rusher being Kyle Kennard or Elijah Roberts or Jack Sawyer, but TJ Sanders being right here, I think they go TJ Sanders to be that Milton Williams replacement. Join Jordan Davis, but mainly Jalen Carter. He's not a Georgia D tackle, which I guess maybe they like, but I like TJ Sanders to the Eagles. Quick recap of our, because this is the accurate first round. Quick recap of our second round here as we outro this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like. In the comment section, let me know some of your thoughts on not only this second round mock draft, but the first round as a whole. It was an interesting first round. If you enjoyed the video, also make sure to leave a like. I don't know if I said that already. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.